never seen that in a house before.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, and
But
then
it turned out not to be.
They want to try to sue.
Oh yeah, she wanted to try to. It's like you can't be responsible. It's your toilet overflow. Like it's not.
Yeah, we never touched it.
Yeah.
How can time and space be the fourth dimension when there's time and space in every dimension? How is it a dimension?
No. Well, you're mixing.
I mean, that's what I've heard. That's.
Yeah. Well, so I usually tell people, Dad, it's like you take your car in and you're like, oh, my radiator's fucked up, and they fix it, and then your clutch goes, and you're like, oh, you just did that.
You
like,
fucked up my clutch.
It's
No.
a different fucking, yeah, exactly.
Not even part of it.
Yeah, so no, you're thinking, so you're mixing space-time is a thing, but also, like, time itself can be considered its own. So, in that representation, the fourth dimension is time. The first three of space... And the fourth dimension is time. And all together, that makes our reality that we are in. So,
but that doesn't make sense to me if the first dimension is a piece of paper,
So, Mom,
second dimension is a square, third dimension is a cube,
that's all of space.
fourth dimension is
time.
layers.
This is what Einstein discovered, is that there is no, this is space and what it does. Similar to, I don't know how much you know about magnets and electromagnetism. They're the same thing. I don't know if you probably actually, you might be old enough when you might have learned this separately. Like, here's electricity, everything about it, magnetism. Now it's
I wasn't taught about magnetism.
Oh, okay. Well, it's just electromagnetism now. We know it's the same thing. It's the north and south of the same exact force. Like, if you have...
what does that have to do with time? Where I'm not lost.
Space and time, Einstein discovered, are the exact same thing. They're one thing.
I can see that.
There is no... Space is one thing and time and they sometimes no, it's space.
One creates the other. It's a creation.
So we live in a four-dimensional existence or reality, whether you picture it as a sphere or that.
So you're saying we're in the fourth dimension?
We're in all four, yes.
What about fifth?
But we only know how to move through three, and we're constantly being pushed through four based on our velocity. We can't change the fourth. We don't know how to manipulate through time. We know how to move through every other dimension of space-time except for the time part, the fourth.
So we're basically stuck on a piece of paper to the next dimension. We're considered
three-dimensional beings, yeah. Because we can't move through the fourth dimension at will. So, for example, you think of a flat piece of paper, which would be two dimensions. You got this way, and you got this plane.
Well, that's one dimension, isn't it? Or no, one dimension is a straight line.
One dimension is a plane this way.
A straight line.
One is this way, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
One would be a line only.
This way and
Two
this way.
Two is a whole plane, and the third dimension is this up and down
cube.
Yeah. And then the fourth dimension is time. So,
no, you just screwed it up again. The fourth dimension is time.
Yeah, but here, this is what I'm going to say.
But there's time in
This is why your brain can't grasp the fourth dimension. You're trying to figure something out. Your brain literally can't.
Is not capable of doing.
It's like trying to understand the whole size of the universe.
Yeah, I was watching that young kid yesterday that was explaining all the dimensions. Have you seen him? He's like
I don't know. I've seen a few videos
13
like
or 15 and he's just going on and on and on explaining dimensions. I'm like, whoa.
But he was probably talking string theory, which has like 11 dimensions, 2 to 7 or 11.
He's questioning if there's infinite dimensions.
Well, there's that too. That's a whole different thing. That's the multiverse thing, which there's technically proof of, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's true. There's
multiverse.
There's certain math and evidence that shows we know that stuff is true and it works. And what it means to try to take all that math and those physics and that proof and to turn it into human concepts ends up giving us like 3 options, and multiverse is one of them.
Math
we don't know which of them it is.
Yeah. I personally
There's so much physics that if you can't understand the math, you'll never fully grasp. You can't.
I've always
the math
thought
is
that
the answer, and we try to put it in words, but it's not
he said
always.
You can't display
What was it,
fourth dimension.
Yeah, no, your brain can't. It's impossible. So you can't. Just like how if you have a 2-dimensional flat paper, you can't display a 3-dimensional image. It's absolutely
like
impossible.
the fish can't see outside the ocean and see the whole other reality.
Exactly. You can make that's what I was getting at. So you picture a 2D plane, flat exact paper, picture a 2D being on it.
Yeah, but
no 3D. He's not up.
Assuming
just as flat as the paper.
consciousness,
well, hang on, let me finish
couldn't you connect to the other dimension? I mean,
you're the flat dude on the flat paper. To him, he cannot have a concept or draw or create a third dimension. It's impossible. It's not a thing. So he can't even grasp the reality of us being able to move like this. It's just a complete. And it's the same to us with the fourth dimension. We can't draw it. We can't picture it.
Couldn't
We
consciousness
can't even
connect to
think
that,
of what it
though?
would be like to be able to move through it.
Couldn't
you
consciousness
can't.
connect to that?
No, your consciousness can't go above your dimension. Like you can't.
Yeah, it
No.
can, yeah.
A two-dimensional being can't dream or imagine into three dimensions and figure and be true about
But
it.
if
You
those
can't.
other dimensions
There's too
exist,
much for your brain to.
everything
your
is
brain would know it.
connected and it's part of that, and consciousness isn't physical, so
Yeah, but
you're
there's
unlimited.
You're talking as if we have a magic connection to nature that lets us. This is made of wood and drywall and this and that and hydrogen. No, you can't. There's nothing. All the little bits of knowledge we know took a bajillion years of crazy experimenting and insane technology to check it this way and that way and throw light at it and throw this at it. Like, you can't just. Nothing in your brain can just go. Boom, and that's the truth. That's what it is. That doesn't happen.
Well, like
It's not a thing.
aliens and telepathy.
Nothing in science has ever been
In
that.
theory, you could communicate
But there's
with the
none of that.
consciousness.
Well, yeah, there's things in physics that could allow that to be a thing, yes. But there's no evidence of a human having ever done that ever.
Well, no
Every
evidence.
discovery-
I understand that.
Okay, well, no, but I get that you're saying, oh, these people might be able to do this and that. If that was true, none of them have ever made any contributions to human knowledge ever. Every little bit of physics, science, math, you can trace it back to who figured it out.
It's
none
Hawk
of that. It was
Bentoff.
experiments.
He was a scientist, some kind of scientist, and he tapped into the consciousness of the universe itself.
You can have people that had experiences, ate mushrooms, did whatever, and say,
Whoa.
"Oh, that made me tap
No, he
into
didn't
it,
eat
and
mush-
it told me
he
this."
meditated,
So
thank you.
yeah, okay, but it always followed up going, "Okay, now I dug into it and did all the math and did all the real work." That work is what made the knowledge, not the I felt this. If you have just one of those two options, all that real work still leads to that same conclusion, to whatever it is. That feeling experience doesn't lead to jack shit. So it's just
What
an
are you
extra.
talking about? Don't lead to
So-
jack shit. He came up with the model of the universe.
Okay, no, yeah, but he still had to. If what you're saying is true, and
Right.
he's the
And,
one
and I'm
that's
saying
accurate,
Nikola Tesla was connected
yeah, but to all the things he created,
to something higher than
he
himself.
also fell in love with a fucking pigeon and married her. He
Well,
wanted to
okay,
fuck
they
her.
say they're
He was
eccentric.
bonkers.
The
Yeah,
shamans
he-
are
I never heard
eccentric,
that.
whatever.
He was downright insane. Yes, he ran his business into the ground. Yeah, Edison's company.
What
fucked
is
him,
that saying
But he fucked his company too. He was
about
bonkers.
creative genius and madness? There's a saying.
Oh yeah, but there's no
in
such
every
thing for that.
genius,
It's
there's
just-
a madness.
Someone who's
Fine
that
line
extremely
between genius and
intelligent is
insanity.
way more known, and all their little mannerism. Everybody's going to have extreme things about them. Look at Alan. If he was a super genius, super billionaire, they'd be, oh look, he's crazy and genius.
Like
And, it's just a
Savant,
it's just a weird
autistic
thing.
savants, or the
Well,
ones
Yeah,
that
there's
that guy
rare
that
cases
can
like that, but
memorize the entire
autistic
library.
savants, people, movies and shows play it as if like, oh, okay, yeah, they're autistic, but then this one capability, they're better than anyone ever. They're not. There's a few rare cases where people like that were like near the top of that field.
Where they can see
But
a
yeah,
highly detailed
exactly.
picture
But
of a
none of
building
those
from
math
Rome or
savants
something like
ever
that.
blow away our top mathematicians and go, oh, let me change it all for you. There's no
So
like.
they're not
none of them
writing
do the Goodwill Hunting
formulas.
thing.
Right.
Yeah, those are always learned ass super geniuses through their whole life. Like straight
Well,
up.
how and why is it they
Sheldon on
instantly
Big Bang
know
Theory.
if
There are
a number
kids that
is
dominate
prime?
college courses at 10 years old.
How do the
Like the
savants?
top geniuses come
No.
and they get wrecked.
How do the savants know what the prime numbers
Well,
are?
because math is fact and logic.
But
once you know, no.
primes make no sense.
Yes,
They're-
they do.
Is there
Everything- no,
randomness?
everything in math is. Once you know a certain amount, you can then extrapolate all of math. That's how we've learned it. Trigonometry was not a thing.
But prime isn't
Someone
math. There's no
Yes,
rhyme or
it
reason
is.
to
Yes,
it.
it is. You just don't know it. Yes, it is.
The only
It's just
math is
really
that it's
hard.
divisible by itself is the only
That's
thing.
math.
But how does the savant know?
That's
Yep,
logic.
that's a prime. No,
Because
that's
it's
not.
rules. All math, whether it's numbers or words, it's the same with computer programming. It's why I was so fucking good at it. When I learned it, I was like, this is literally just math with words. So,
Computer programming.
yes.
Yeah.
So, if this plus this happens, then go to this
Yeah,
and do
yeah.
this. Yes. That is a math
It's a formula,
equation. That
yeah.
is literally, yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
in
So,
life is an equation.
Everything in math is like, okay, so we invented, say, vocabulary. We invent the definition of words. We invented chairs. We invented the concept of a house. we did not invent math. We discovered it. Just like
Right,
uranium.
just like it was
Just like
electricity.
plutonium. Exactly. It is a
It's
fact
always
of the
been there.
universe.
We didn't.
One
But you
plus one
discovered
is
something that
always
was
two.
already there,
Yes.
right?
So 1 + 1 is always 2. No matter what
Yeah.
planet you live on, no matter how you say it, all of math is that way. So once you know a certain base of math, if your brain is strong enough and can calculate enough and hold enough concepts in its head at the same time, you can extrapolate from that chunk of math to all of math.
A light year is a light year.
That's where calculus came from. Newton. There was no calculus. He figured that shit out because he took super deep algebra and just kept going and going.
Just expanding
And,
it,
can I
expanding
calculate this angle? I know what this is, and I know that much. Can I figure out all the in between? And like trigonometry, same thing. Calculus.
For a while, I was into
So,
primes so much,
yeah.
and having heard about the savants, that I was trying to work out some kind of pattern that would fit it.
There is nothing.
And
no.
yeah,
Some of the smartest people that have ever been about
Have
math
tried that, yeah.
it. Supercomputers have overheated.
like they come
trying
out
to
with
do it.
these
there's
math
no-
cubes where all the numbers add up to the same. Or
Yeah. Stuff like that, humans aren't going to solve. It's going to be when we have AI that can do it. It's going to blow past
Quantum
us.
computers.
Yeah. They're going to blow past us in math so massively. All that'll be solved by them if it's solved.
So they're going to produce formulas we have not
They have
solved.
no
Can't even
chance
begin to
of,
fathom.
yes.
Ah.
They're going to produce math equations that are factually testable and true and change like
And
our
the scientists
science.
are going to be
And
like,
we're
"Oh my
not gonna,
god!"
we're going to be going, how the fuck do you solve that? I don't understand. Like,
And
yeah.
it'd be like rolling into Little House from the Prairie scene on a fucking brand
Yes,
new fucking
with a
crotch
giant
rocket.
whiteboard filled up of the.
Why
and they
haven't
won't even
they
know what this crotch rocket
programmed
is.
yet a formula producing computer?
Oh yeah, that's the math AI and shit. Yeah, testing theories and shit. And that's how they.
So the computers
They
just
also-
theorize, though they don't.
They don't think.
Well,
for
they
themselves.
calculate.
Yeah, they just do math super,
Right.
They
super
calculate.
fast. So they are so insanely fast. So a lot of people think most AI is going to be like, oh, like a human. Like, which decision do I make? No, AI is so insanely fast, and so are our top computers that they just go, oh, there's 6 billion decisions I could make here. Let me make them all, simulate the outcome of all, and choose the best. And 6
Kinda like
billion
in war
is like a
games.
fraction of a second, exactly.
Simulate.
Yeah, that's so AI can consider every single possibility. There's actually, have you ever
A
heard of?
possibility generator.
All at once.
Kind of, yeah. That's what our brain is. Your brain is a prediction engine. It is constantly making predictions of, okay, I've learned all
Like
of
if
this
I get
over
on
my
this
life.
bike, am I going to fall?
Exactly.
Am I
gonna
going to
fall
drive
this way?
over
If
a
I
rock?
do this way, what
Yeah.
happens? If I grab this phone, how's it going to feel? What's it do?
Yeah.
That's where anxiety and stress comes from.
What?
The more
Go back up.
inaccurate-
Say that again. The whole sentence with anxiety.
That's where anxiety and stress comes
What
from.
is?
A big chunk of it.
Your brain
prediction
constantly
engine.
making
Your
predictions.
When the
prediction
real
engine.
world doesn't fit to a certain degree is fine. It's at what your brain expects.
So that's
But
worry
when the real
mode.
world fits against what you expect completely, like too severely, like everything just doesn't fit what your brain expects to be, everything's like crazy. This thing's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to act that
Like a
it-
pink
It
elephant.
goes you crazy. Yeah,
Like when Silas
It's-
broke his leg, Brandon
Yeah.
went into a panic attack.
exactly. That's
He
why.
passed
'cause
out.
Out of all the expectations of his brain, he's been rode a motorcycle and dirt bike a million times, a bike as a kid.
And
he
didn't
never
predict
thought that would
that
happen.
scenario.
And it happened, and it was extreme, and it was out of his control, and his brain just kept. You keep trying to make more predictions, and it just fucks you up. Yeah,
Huh.
that's a big source of stress and anxiety, and
Why
'Cause
anxiety
it's
is getting stuck
that's
in
why
worry
most-
mode.
over
Yeah.
things you can't control.
Overthinking
And control is a
and
side,
the
a
worst
flip of your
possibilities.
prediction engine. If something doesn't fit your brain's preconceived notions, you want to be able to have control of it and fix it, and then you feel fine. If you can't, and it feels like, oh, my
Your
whole
brain just fucking trips
worldview
out.
is inaccurate, and I can't control or
So
fix
it's
any
about
of it, you start
control?
going crazy. Yeah. Well, and
Or lack
accuracy.
of.
Your brain wants to be comforted in knowing you
The
know your
outcomes.
surroundings. They are the way they should be. They're safe. You're aware of everything.
So is that
And
tied
same
to
with
your fight or
humanity.
flight?
Yes. That's why
Your
it triggers
fear,
that.
your
Anxiety
fear.
makes you feel like, oh, I need to do something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's same with social. Even people who are relatively antisocial, you still want to know that you're relatively valued and accepted by other humans, and at least some other people are, accept you and or appreciate you. Like you don't. That's why a lot of people who go into depression are people who don't do like what was her name, Kay, that used to play poker and just lived in a wheelchair off disability and diabetes. A lot of people like that have nothing, no hobbies, and they fall into depression. Remember how upset Pano got after he
Well,
retired?
how's that
He had
tied
nothing
to
do?
the? Because anxiety and
I'm just saying
depression
it's
are
similar
like
to
a
the same thing
pair.
with your physical surroundings. You also have a social.
So not having
mental
control
radar.
leads to depression, or
Not having a degree of control.
it doesn't
and-
meet your
it's not just
perspective
that
of
one thing, though.
reality.
A lot of shit leads to depression, but yeah, that can lead to anxiety and depression and issues. But it's like you have your brain has a radar of your physical surroundings and your social surroundings, and all of it needs to be kosher to
It
where
draws
you think
basically
it
its
should
own
be.
picture of what
Exactly,
it
yeah.
thinks everything
Your brain
should
is
be.
permanently
Well,
receiving
it's like
information.
suffering in the
certain
world
things that are
creates
allowed.
disdain in
Yeah.
yourself because you're like, the world shouldn't be like this.
And
it could be so much better.
This is most likely where feelings come from because most of this happens before you're consciously aware. Like, you think I'm in control of my body and traveling through, but you're way more of a backseat passenger than you think. And a lot of stuff you think
We're Sims.
Yeah. A lot of stuff you think that, I decided to do this because I wanted to. Your
Your
brain, before you
subconscious
consciously
did it.
thought that, the subconscious part, you don't.
That's what I was going to
consciously
say. The
control.
subconscious
That part
thinks
is already
ahead.
decided.
It's an ahead
and
thinking
you're going to do
consciousness.
it. You don't have the choice. And then basically your conscious.
So basically, it can see farther
Your
into the
conscious
future
is your
than you
narrator.
can because it sees all the possible
Well, no.
outcomes.
No, ones that it can conceive.
Well, that's what I
No,
attribute
not
to
all
the higher.
possible.
I attribute that to the
Only
higher
what
self.
it can conceive based on your own world experience.
Okay, so
That's
it's
why
limited.
that's why people get culture shock. You lived in your certain little town your whole life. You get thrown into another country that's completely different. You can fucking have an overload and a mental breakdown.
Oh God, Florida was a breathing challenge,
Yeah.
and the heat was
Well, yeah.
so hot, but it wasn't humid.
Okay,
It was
imagine all that climate difference, but also if the culture was completely different color people that dress completely different and
like
completely
people
different
on
sets of
the
politeness
Hunger
and
Games
rudeness.
with the pink hair
Yeah,
and
exactly. You fucking
Or in the
snap,
movie,
yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I think we're heading towards the Avatar type
But-
of people in
What
the
do you mean?
city, with the pink hair and the cat suits. There's people walking
crazy
around in
ass people, yeah,
costumes
some
and
places, yeah.
tails hanging out the back of their shirt. We was at the art show and Barbie's like, yeah, that's the new LGBTQ thing. They pose and dress as animals and
Well,
pretend
some
they're
of them.
animals.
It's not like, that's what.
And they walk around
there's
with
just a chunk of
tails
weird-ass
hanging out
people
their
that call themselves
pants.
furries, yeah, and they
Yeah,
think
but
they're animals.
it's like weird
They'll literally
fetishes
put
or
on
something.
entire animal suits and bang each other. They
I
crawl
seen
around
that
like
actually
Oh my
on
God, oh
A
my
Million Ways
God.
to Walk
Yeah,
Die
they're
one
fucking
time.
Oh my
nuts,
God.
These group, you
Great.
stop,
Yeah.
focus on that movie for 2 minutes.
That's what I
you're
told
gone.
Mom. I was like, you might as well turn it off. None of you are going to understand anything that's
Yeah.
happening from
You
now
lose
on.
2 minutes or 5 minutes,
Yeah.
you're fucking done.
And Barbie kept trying to have weird.
Really?
dreams.
Go look at the bathtub.
She was like,
Go look.
What?
Go look at the bathtub.
She was like, how is this guy beating up these bigger guys?
It's okay, it won't
That's
bite
impossible.
you.
I was like, you love Marvel movies. Captain America knocks people through walls. That's impossible. And she was like, well,
I've
there's.
seen those.
She was like, well, there's an explanation. He's got powers. I'm like, they got powers too. You just didn't listen to the explanation.
Yeah, you got to be 100% focused
Oh
on
yeah,
that movie.
you have to follow every bit of it.
And even then, it's hard to keep up with.
Yes. Yeah, even then it blows your mind.
I come up with a hypothesis the other day. Couldn't getting high or drunk actually be at least seemingly bending space-time?
It gets you into another dimension.
No, because the only thing we know
Seemingly.
that does that is
It does. It
Gravity.
changes your
mass or
your
velocity.
frequency and your perspective.
Yeah, but
Like
that's it.
things are slowed down for one.
Right.
Yeah, but things that go on in
Ideas
here don't affect
expand.
anything out here. It's just in here.
Oh no, not just in here.
Yeah.
This is just a radio that's tuned in to the consciousness.
Yeah, but that's what
The
I was
brain
telling
is
you
just
earlier.
a
There's none of that.
radio.
There's no proof of that in all of human existence. If that
Well,
were true,
I'm sorry. I'm trying.
that's what
I don't know what to tell
tell
you.
If that were true,
Meditate
at least
and then
one.
talk
Okay,
to me.
but hang on. At least one scientific discovery would have been found by that. If we had 1% of tuning into the universe to learn things, then where is the proof? Where we learn?
It's in the egg. It's in the egg. I'm
Okay, but
telling
none
you.
of that's true. Been proven.
Oh, it's true.
Okay.
How did I download the exact
Okay,
same
but if
egg?
it is, why did no one discover gravity through that before Newton did through math?
Maybe
Why
that's
did no one
how
dis-
he did.
No, it's not.
Maybe it came to him.
That's what I was telling you.
Don't
Every
get
major-
testy with me now.
Okay, but it's because we already told you. Every discovery like that. All the big
Spirit
ones.
versus science. Oh.
This is why. You just keep talking over. You don't listen. I've already said the same stuff and you didn't
Don't
listen.
get
'cause you talked
testy.
over it.
You're talking at the
That's
same
why,
time.
yeah.
I can't even keep up with it.
Every major discovery can be traced back to
We-
someone doing that math that we had that whole talk about. Yeah, your guy might have done mushrooms, and that's what made me think over here. But it all came down to math on paper. And
You keep going to
experiment.
mushrooms. Oh my God.
Okay, whether it was mushrooms or whatever. Your
No, it was
consciousness,
nothing.
You're downloading. Okay.
It was
either way.
meditation.
Okay, meditation, whatever. None of that has ever made a discovery. No one has ever a single time went, I just downloaded from the universe. Here's this new math. Test it. Oh my God, it works.
I just read that
Look here, you'll find a planet. Look here, you'll find a black hole. There's never been a
I
prediction
just read
in
that
science
there's
made from that.
a
ever.
psychic that was actually used as testimony in a court case.
Yeah, and there's no way for them to disprove or prove it. It's pointless. If that psychic was real, why aren't they a millionaire? They could have went and got that.
How do you know they
Monroe's
are?
money.
I don't know who it is.
Then are they a millionaire?
I don't know. I
They
didn't.
could get millions more for free.
I didn't look them
Any
up.
psychic or telekinetic or any one of those can get that Randall Monroe fund by proving it in front of
Teresa
cameras.
Caputo's doing pretty
Get it.
good.
They make money because
Yeah,
they're
they can-
idiots. That doesn't prove anything.
Just like God. They can't
Yeah.
prove it and they can't disprove
That's
it.
why every person that ever went
Everybody
for that
can make money
challenge
from
to get
idiots.
those millions of dollars fail. Every single one. And that's why all the ones that are rich off of that shit won't do it because they don't want to give up their money because they know it's bullshit. Oh yeah, well here you go, one of these dog little bitches.
Jenna.
I think my favorite
Yeah,
thing
people literally live
about
like this.
Jenna
It's
and
like
her
living
abilities
donkeys.
Like
just
what?
to embrace
Watch, he
who
takes her
she
to like the
is.
dog
That's
park and
fuzzy
walks her
about
and shit. Look.
Oh, it's one of those animal people.
Puppy play is an extremely
Puppy
important
play.
relationship. That's where a lot of like my
She has a cage, look,
languages
the camera.
lie.
Despite living a puppy dream, this canine couple have had to deal with some harsh
Oh,
judgment.
okay.
I definitely do.